Hello and welcome to Strictly Salina. I'm Brenda Gutierrez with the Salina Area United Way. Today our guest on Strictly Salina is Michael Chambers. Hi Michael.
Hi Brenda.
Thank you for joining us. Michael is the Executive Director of the Emergency Aid Food Bank. Thank you for coming on our show. We appreciate that.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'd like to start our show with what's your why? So what's your why, Michael?
So my why is that I see myself as a helper. I think I've always been a helper as a kid. I was a helper, and my adult career has led me to different positions where I've been able to help people, and it's very satisfying and rewarding. And being the executive director of the food bank is just a new way for me to help.
Now tell us a little bit about the Emergency Aid Food Bank, a little bit more about your organization and what you folks do there.
So the Salina Emergency Aid Food Bank is just about 50 years old. We started here in Salina when a group of churches got together with this idea that there should be some more sophisticated way to assist people that were experiencing hunger and food insecurity, rather than people having to go just sort of from church to church asking for help. And so those churches got together and they did a thing called Pounding Sundays, where they encouraged their parishioners or congregation to bring in cans of food. And a can of food weighs about a pound. And so that's where that term came from, and so people did that, and then they set up the food bank as sort of a hub where people could go to access that service. So primarily what we do is do food distribution for people that are experiencing food insecurity, and we also do some emergency aid funding for people that are experiencing some sort of budget shortfall and need some assistance with the utilities or water or rent or something like that.
Yeah. Now, thinking about the Emergency Aid Food Bank, where are you located at now?
So we're at 255 South Chicago, and not many people know where 255 South Chicago is. So I always explain that we are just north of Ace Hardware, and we are just south of St. John's Missionary Baptist Church. And most people then can find us.
Yeah. When you think about the mission of the organization, what drew you to this position? Because you're fairly new to this director position.
I am. I'm coming up on 3 years, I think. And some days it seems like 100 years, and some days it seems like I've been there 20 minutes. So, but I think it's about 3 years. And what drew me to the position was the opportunity to help people in a different way. As I mentioned before, my career has been in social services, and I've been in jobs where I've been able to help people and assist the community. And this was just a new way of doing that, and being able to utilize a skill set that I felt like I developed over my career in a way that would be really meaningful and helpful to the community and to the individuals that need assistance with food.
I know in my world at the Salina Area United Way, there's a lot of collaboration. We work together, connecting and networking. You folks too. There's some things that I think of, like the Letter Carriers Food Drive, and I also think of Project Salina.
Yes.
Could you tell us a little bit more about some of those things where people, other organizations or businesses help?
Sure. So first of all, I would say that it is really remarkable how well the resource agencies in Salina and Saline County do work together. We work very hard to not duplicate services and to make sure that people's needs are met. There are a couple of unique partnerships that you've talked about. One of them is the Mail Carriers Food Drive, which comes up every May. And that food drive benefits the Salvation Army, the Salina Rescue Mission, DVAC, the Ashby House, and the Emergency Aid Food Bank. And about 30,000 pounds of food will be donated in one day. And it's so enriching to see all of the volunteers come together and see all of that food come in on a single day that we know is going to go out to help nourish people, for months. And Project Salina is another big one, also happening in May. And that brings in about 150 to 200,000 food items over a month's time. And all of the community businesses get together and organizations get together and donate food that benefits those agencies that I mentioned before. So it's really, really neat to be part of those large community things that we know are helping people every night at their dinner table.
And there was one that was just not too long ago, and if you're a Chiefs fan, a Super Bowl Sunday.
That's right.
That was a really big weekend for several.
Yeah, so Super Bowl of Hope. Yeah, go Chiefs.
Yes,
How
yes.
exciting was that?
That's great.
But yeah, Super Bowl of Hope happens every year, and it is sort of a sub-project of Project Salina. It happens in January, and it is coordinated with the Super Bowl football game. And this year's goal was 54,000 cans of soup. And I believe that the goal was met. I haven't heard officially yet because checks are still coming in and cans of soup are still coming in too. But I believe the goal was met. So
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on those successes and to the boards and the committees that make those things happen. Now, thinking about your actual, think of the food pantry, when someone comes in, we've talked about soup and some of the other things, I picture macaroni and cheese, maybe soaps and shampoos. What does it look like if I came in for assistance? Could you walk us through how that looks and how you help people?
Sure. So the Emergency Aid Food Bank is set up to provide people with a full week's worth of groceries. So basically everything that they would need to prepare 3 healthy and nutritious meals a
What
day.
if I like fruits and vegetables and my husband doesn't? He thinks M&Ms are a food group.
Well, we have that. So interestingly, about 10,000 pounds of fresh fruits and vegetables are donated every week by local grocery stores. And that really supplements the non-perishable food items that we are providing to families. And those other agencies that I've mentioned before also have also benefit from that produce donation from local grocery stores and whatnot. It is the food bank is really set up to provide all of that food that people need for all of their meals for the week, and then we do an interview with each of those clients that come in and they demonstrate to us that they have a need for the service through a quick financial assessment. And so we look at the income that comes into the home and the expenses that come into the home, and then when they meet that threshold, we're able to provide service to them for the week or the month, depending on whatever frequency they have income.
Yeah. So based on the number of people in the household, that's part of what would determine, and then based on likes and dislikes, there's some choices there too.
Yes, absolutely. So as part of the interview is we really go through a shopping list and we ask clients each thing. Would you like canned vegetables? Would you like canned beans? Would you like canned fruit? And clients tell us what their preferences are and what they like and what they won't use, because we don't want to send things home with people that they aren't going to use or that they don't have a preference for. And one of the things that we're able to do is when we offer somebody 6 cans of vegetables, if they say they don't really like peas, we're not going to send home peas with them. So we can adjust the quantities, or not the quantities, but we can adjust the kinds of vegetables that we're sending home with people based on what their preferences are.
I know I have a preference for cheese. My husband has a preference for meat. You have refrigerator items, you have fresh meat, frozen meat items also to help your clients?
We do. So each week we get about 2,000 pounds of frozen meat that's donated by local grocery stores, and we distribute that in a frozen form, and often it's the larger quantities of chicken legs or chicken breast or whatever that come in the big packages that the average family of 3 or 4 people won't buy those because it's just too much to use for the week. So we have those that are available, and we have whole chickens and steaks and all kinds of things, and hamburger and pork and all of that we're able to provide to families.
That's nice to know that there's the canned goods as well as that. And how about once a week laundry day? You have some help with things like that, or other home use items, home cleaning items, maybe even soap and shampoo?
We do. That's a great question. It's not something that people automatically think of at a food bank. If you are a person that is using SNAP benefits or food stamps, you can't purchase toilet paper, toothpaste, toothbrushes, deodorant, shampoo, laundry and dish soap with those SNAP benefits. And people that are on limited or fixed incomes often have to choose between those items. And so we do ask for donations of those from the community. And people are generous and they donate those to us, and then we distribute them to families in need. So
when you think of something that you have a need for in addition to the food, what about like containers, plastic sacks? Are there some other things that people could donate that wouldn't be exactly on the food list?
yes, that's true. So We do take donations of clean, recyclable plastic containers, and we use those to break down the laundry and dish soap and things like that come in larger quantities, and we break those down into kind of what a family might need for a week. So we do use recyclable containers for that. Plastic bags, we can always use plastic bags because we can distribute produce and things like that in plastic bags.
So if you waved your magic wand, what would you wish for your organization?
Oh my gosh, I would wish that that there would be nobody in Saline County that experiences hunger or food insecurity. And if the magic wand can't reach that far, just that the food bank would have enough resources to support everybody in our community that has that particular need. A specific thing that we're looking at is to identify ways that we can serve people around the community without the need for them to physically travel to the food bank. And so there's some ideas being generated and some partnerships being formed that I think in the future we'll be able to do that, to address people closer to where they live rather than them having to travel to the food bank. So all of those things would be under the magic wand.
That makes me think about what things you know now that you didn't know 3 years ago. So transportation, pickup, delivery, some of those things you've mentioned.
Right. So there's a lot that I know now that I didn't, but what I've found is that there's actually more that I don't know now than I did know when I came to the job 3 years ago. What I do know is that people in Salina and Saline County are generous and committed to helping those that are in need. There is an abundance of food that has the potential to be wasted, and Salina and Saline County have a really good infrastructure for getting that to people in need. And so we're really fortunate in those ways. There are certainly more people in the county that need our help than I ever imagined before I came to the food bank. But there also are many more generous and giving people than I thought possible also.
Well, I would agree that food rescue is kind of a trendy word now, and people are becoming more aware, and they say, what do people do with the extra food from this or the extra produce from that? And I can say, they've been working on that for years. How much would you like to know? And then if I can connect them with someone like you, and you can give them the breakdown of, this is what we do with extra cupcakes, extra celery, extra. So there's different things in the community that people put together, and I say things generally, that it could be the fresh, it could be the frozen, that people come together and share that type of resource with you folks. And then cash, you mentioned something about cash still coming in. You take cash donations, and you could probably buy fresh or say milk or something like that.
We do.
If you needed to help.
So, some people like to donate their time, some people like to donate food, and other people like to donate money. And we are positioned to accept any of those gifts. And we can, through our bulk purchasing options, often purchase things less expensively than the average consumer can at the grocery store. And so that's a nice way for people to donate as well.
How do people get involved if they want to volunteer?
So we have a volunteer coordinator named Janet. You can call the food bank. You can send us an email via our website, and we'll respond and try to find the best way for you to assist at the food bank.
And I bet you're out there on social media. What you have? Facebook, website?
We have a website. It is undergoing a makeover right now. So we're looking forward to having it's still active, but looking forward to having the new one launched here before too long. But we also are on Facebook, and you can learn a lot about the food bank by following us on Facebook. We update that very frequently, and try to keep people informed of what's happening at the food bank and how they can help.
Well, it sounds like there's a lot going on.
There is a lot going on. The food bank is a very active and robust place. It's busy with our food recovery program, as you mentioned earlier, and then getting that food distributed to people that need it. So,
well, thank you so much for sharing about the Emergency Aid Food Bank. Today, I'm Brenda Gutierrez with the Salina Area United Way, and we've had Michael Chambers with the Salina Emergency Aid Food Bank on our show. Thank you for tuning in for Strictly Salina.